Believing others is easy, but believing in yourself, that's a challenge. And I wish to prove that today. My shortcomings are my strength, and my strengths are my worth. I wish to take you all on the beautiful journey of our country, the journey which has glorified success, the journey which has accomplished growth stories, the journey which has lessons not learned by all of us, even after 72 years of our independence. So when did India get independence? 72 years back, 15th August 1947 was the day when we became an independent democratic republic. And we all believe we should be proud of our independence, shouldn't we? Even we believe we have done the great job by keeping our independence intact, properly intact. In famous Tryst with the Destiny speech given by our first Prime Minister of India, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, on the eve of independence said, and I quote, "The achievement which we are celebrating now is but a step to the opening of opportunities to the great triumph and achievement that await us. Are we all brave enough and wise enough to grasp those opportunities and face the challenges of future?" Unquoted. How well have we proven ourselves in the last long span of 72 years? We all know that, right? But when I introspected, I realized that yet we are not triumphed over those challenges. If we go on to writing what India has learned in the last 72 years, it's equivalent to writing a couple of pages. But if we go on to writing what we could not learn in the last 72 years, it's equivalent to writing an epic, a whole soul of epic. Why is this so? Why are we just talking negative or confiding ourselves into illusion of feel-good environment, which we high-income group people have been doing since a long time, isn't it? Now, the first unlearned lesson of India is to tame down our ever-growing population. Don't worry, I'm not praying Thanos to be there in India. His snap will be too rigid solution of this huge problem. But let me share a few facts with you. As per worldometer.info, in the time of independence, our population share in world population was 14.48%, which has now jumped on to 17.1%. A huge jump. It states that Indian population has increased by 15.58%. Despite being the first country to launch family planning program, we still end up being the world's second most populated nation. It is worthy to say that as per UN World Population Report 2019, we are more likely to overtake China by 2027. For this, thanks to all those loop-sided and hollowed policies set by our government in defense of people. I wish we had learned the lesson that needs of unlimited and ever-growing population cannot be satisfied by limited and dwindling natural resources. It's somewhere equivalent that India is sitting on a pile of human dynamite, which might explode for our own destruction. Now, the problem of population explosion will not have arisen if we would have well-established, strong education system on the place, which has got some academic education, technical education, and vocational training at the center. If we would have learned this lesson a few decades back, then the situation of highest unemployment in the last 40 years will not have arisen today. It is actually so unfortunate to see that our expenditure on education is in the form of inward pyramid, where poor people spending on primary education and pre-graduation is meager. And when we go on to higher technical education, it's damn expensive. To top it all, the graduates and professions from IIT and IIM deserted their motherland for the greener pasture in abroad. This leads to colossal sum of money to be wasted on higher technical education. Not only this, this brain drain creates a serious imbalance of Indian skilled workforce. Despite all this mess, we still refuse or emulate ourselves to learn from third world countries who are successfully retaining their technical manpower by providing them an healthy working environment with good paybacks. The biggest drawback of Indian health infrastructure is that there is negligence of rural mass. Although we do have hospitals in rural area, but only urban base is visible. As per some health information, 31.5% of hospitals and 16% of hospital beds lie in rural area, where till date 75% of Indian population resides. And doctors in our country are still unwilling to serve in those rural areas where people require it a lot. Indian health infrastructure is highly imbalanced in India. In places like rural, hilly, and remote areas, it is almost negligent. And when we go on to metro areas, it is not only well developed, but competitive in nature. Amartya Sen, first Indian economist, said that India cannot be a global economic power with uneducated and unhealthy workforce. India has come far in the last 7 decades, and we still have a long way to go. We had an intense growth in various sectors, but still our education, health, and social sectors are lagging behind. If we truly want to make India a true superpower, as Indian citizens, it's our responsibility to take certain initiative in that direction. 2-minute noodles, heard by almost everyone over here. These are actually been adored by every child I met in my life, but I could never met anyone who has actually cooked it in 2 minutes. Are we Indians really not concerned about our time? Charles Lamb, a writer who worked in East Indian Company, was held up by his boss for regularly coming late. Lamb proclaimed and said, "But sir, I make up by going early." How truly and authentically we Indians can connect to it. We Indians believe that being late is super important. It makes us important, and though it makes us super cool, isn't it? A famous quote by Mark Levy goes like, "To realize the value of 1 year, ask the student who failed in a grade. To realize the value of 1 month, ask the mother who gave birth to a premature baby. To realize the value of 1 week, ask the editor of weekly news magazine. To realize the value of 1 hour, ask the lovers who have been waiting for their Valentine in cafe. To realize the value of 1 minute, ask the person who just missed their flight. To realize the value of 1 second, ask the person who missed a severe accident. To realize the value of 1 millisecond, ask the person who won silver medal in Olympics because he was lagging with 1 millisecond. Time waits for no one. Treasure every moment that you have and treasure it more because you spend it with someone special enough to spend your time with. Yesterday is a history and tomorrow is a mystery. Guys, today is a gift, that's why it's called present. In the end, I would like to sum up by the words of great writer and philosopher George Santayana, who said, "Those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, and history repeats itself until we learn from it." Hearing that, I wish that you all learn, I learn, and we all learn together. Thank you guys for bearing your ears.